Gang, I promise I'm not going to do any more episodes like solely based on my surgery. But let me just tell you, like, this is why being fat in the world really sucks, because it's like, it's not only like your physical appearance, your emotional well-being, your internal, like being hungry or, like not having a good reaction to certain foods that you know are right for you. Like, questioning every fucking decision you make at the supermarket or at the drive-through, or, especially if it's like one of those situations like where you were caught out and you're like, damn, wasn't expected to eat out right now. And I find myself in need of food and I have to make shitty decisions and feel bad about it. And then, then there's the scale, which is lying to you. And because I'm having a moment. And I thought I'd put it on wax, as they say. You guys don't know those terms anymore. Nobody uses these terms anymore. But I'm like snapping a friend, and in the camera I can see my face and I can see my neck and I look really, really skinny. But recently I've been having some issues with my scale. The scale is not reflecting what I'm seeing in the mirror. And even though, you tell yourself all the time, like, hey, you still drop that pant size, you still drop that shirt size, when you see that fucking number and it's the same, or you gained a pound or two, or it's just like, I did all this work and why isn't it fucking moving? Because you can't, the scale doesn't tell you like, hey, dumbass, like that's actually muscle now. You know what I mean? Like, so you mentally, it's a mental battle. And anybody who has a mental thing, any type of mental issue going on and has to constantly, and they always say like, oh, it's easier said than done. 100%. It is so fucking hard to keep telling yourself. It's one thing to keep telling yourself something. It's another thing entirely to believe it. And that's where the impossibility lies. That's where the struggle, that's where it's so, you can't, because your brain is saying, no, the scale is not moving. But you're like, no, brain, like I went down a pant size, and like, no, brain, like I'm putting the fork down when I feel full, and like, no, I'm still making the right decisions. Your brain is seeing the number on the scale, and that's what sticks with you, or like, it's but everybody has experienced this. Like you're having a great day and then someone makes like one off comment, or you are feeling yourself in a photo and like you post it on the gram and you don't get any fucking likes, or somebody makes a comment that's not even like related to it. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, that's not what I posted that for. Like, like our fucking brains, like, why can't our brains, I swear to God. But this is why people medicate. This is why people do drugs. This is why people binge eat. This is why people drink. Because we can't get our brain to fucking like fall in line. Like brain. Like, and is the answer to not step on the scale? Maybe it is. I don't think it is. But like, I don't know what the answer is. Like, how do we... It's one of those things like, like we all have friends who maybe are attention seekers. You know what I mean? Like they post specifically for the likes. Their Instagram does not exactly mirror what's based in reality, because they constantly need that positive reinforcement. And now I'm thinking like, maybe I get it. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those like, unless somebody tells me every day that I'm doing well, you think about that fucking number on the scale and why isn't the scale moving? The scale was moving so well, the first couple of months. And now, I'm barreling down on a year anniversary since having my surgery. And I'm trying so, and I'm going to get emotional about it. Like I'm trying so hard to not be disappointed, but at the same, like, but I know I've done the work. I know I continue to do the work. I know, like I said, I had that moment where I'm looking at myself in my camera and I'm like, I'm having a skinny moment. Like I can see it, but It's like we need all of the things, like we need the full package. And that's where doubt comes in, and that's where insecurity comes in. And people just don't, no one will ever know. No one will ever see it. No one will ever experience it. No one will ever feel it the way we feel it. But we all have, you guys, you all know to some degree what I'm talking about, right? Like whether it's self-confidence at work, or the courage to try something new, or the courage to put yourself out there. We all have like that one continuous thing that keeps tripping us up and that keeps making us feel like we're not there. We're not doing it. We're not succeeding. We're never going to get, puts all those doubts in your mind. And I'm not sitting here telling you what the answer is, because baby, I don't fucking know, but I'm just posting this to be like, hey, I hear you. I see you. I get you. Just keep going. That's all. I had a conversation with a coworker the other day who hadn't seen me in a while, because we work on completely opposite crews, completely opposite shifts, where we run into each other maybe twice a month. Like that's how opposite our schedules are. And she is Asian. She's from an Asian country. So there's a little, lost in translation when you're having conversations. Like she words things, maybe not so much of an eloquent way, like I'm doing right now, clearly. But she saw me and she's like, "Oh my God," she said, "you look really good," but like, she's like, "your skin looks really good." Because we have a couple of coworkers who have gone through bariatric surgery, and granted, they are older than me. But everybody does things differently. As you guys know, I'm a diehard Mary Kay, so I do my skincare routine. I'm really big on staying hydrated. Like I've never really been into sugary drinks or extra shit like that. As you guys know, it's just like water all the time. So my skin, thankfully, has not really reflected the surgery itself. Whereas a lot of the time when people have the surgery, they tend to get wrinkles, their skin dries out, their skin changes. They have, like the crepey skin. They have, they could, start getting like blemishes or spots in certain parts of their skin. And a lot of people always say, like, I had this surgery, I feel great, I lost a ton of weight, but I look older. Or, maybe not the entire time, like, the first couple of months while your body's adjusting, I definitely had a coworker say that to me. She's like, "Oh, my face looks so old and everything looks saggy and wrinkly." So like I said, this one coworker was like, "Oh my God, your skin looks so good. You look so young. You don't look like what the other women who've had this surgery look like." So she was kind of like shocked, because she's like, "If you had the surgery, how come you don't look the same way?" And of course that made me feel great. Like that made me feel really good. And she had said, she's like, "You look like you lost like half of your body weight." And I was like, "Oh my God, definitely. Absolutely not. Absolutely not." I said, "I'm halfway to my goal. But I'm having a hard time surpassing the halfway mark, which is what's really been dragging me down." And she just said, "Well, she thought one coworker went a little too far and was a little too thin and didn't look good." So she was like, "Just make sure you're doing the right things." But then she said, "Just don't go back. Don't go back." She kept saying, "Don't go back." So that's, again, I took the compliment, but then you step on the scale and the scale's not moving. And all you hear in your mind is, "Don't go back, don't go back, don't go back." And it fucks with you, it really does. It really does. And I just, like I said, I was having a moment. I said, let me share it. But at the same time, I'm sharing it without providing any answers or any solution or any way to make any of us feel better. Other than to just say, I'm going to keep doing what I am doing. You keep doing what you're doing. And if you're not doing anything, fucking start. Fucking start. Get on it. Do it. You're worth it. And you'll be better for it. So with that, this is Try Not to Curse. I was just on my way to bed, and I gotta be honest, I took a gummy, so I'm a little high. But I feel like from the last thing that I shared, I should also share a positive that actually just happened. And who knows when I'm going to air this part, but I'm all of my clothes, as you guys know, obviously, I've had to replace, or I'm downsizing. So I started at a size 26 pant down to an 18, almost down to a 16, which is, when I tell you, I cannot for the life of me remember a time that I was smaller than an 18. So that in itself is blowing my mind. I went from a 3X shirt to a 1X. Depending on the maker. Sometimes it's a large. If you want to go by Torrid sizes, the store Torrid for plus size ladies, I think they go up to a 5 or a 6. I was a size 3 in Torrid, and now I'm a size 00. At Lane Bryant, the smallest size is a 14. I am now a 14 in my top. So eventually both Torrid and Lane Bryant are stores that I'm never going to be able to shop in again. And again, that blows my mind. I've been shopping at Lane Bryant since high school. And when Torrid came out, I couldn't wait to get in there. Unfortunately, they're stupid expensive, but it's just wild to me to think that I've spent 20 years, more than 20 years shopping at these stores. And now all of a sudden I'm not a part of their demographic. It's wild. But I'm saying all of this to say, as I've been going through and ordering clothes, in the beginning, it was just the basics, t-shirts and pants and my work pants. That was the biggest thing, my work pants. But now, it's warm as hell out and I want to start wearing dresses. I don't have any dresses in my size anymore. So I placed an order online with Lane Bryant, actually. And then I ended up meeting my cousins at the mall. So I was like, oh, perfect time. I'll go to Torrid. And that's where I found out I was now a 00. I have 3 00 dresses in my closet, which again, to you guys means nothing if you don't shop there. But from 3 down to a 00, so I dropped 4 sizes there. It's so wild to me because I still, like I said, I still do kind of, obviously I'm not where I want to be. And, your body, when it loses all that weight, I called myself a melting candle the other day because sometimes you feel in that way. But again, I started all of this to say that I had an incredible moment the other day when I came home from the mall with my dresses that I was excited about. The dress that I had ordered from Lane Bryant arrived, and I'll be honest, I completely forgot that I ordered the dress. I know I had ordered some tops and things, but once I hit that order now button, for some reason it all just went out the door. But anyway, so that dress came in and I was like, oh, let me try it on and let's just see how it fits, because again, it's a size that I'm not used to ordering from them. And you guys, and I please do not feel any pity for me by any means in the statement that I'm going to say, but I put that dress on and I got to look at myself in the mirror. And at that moment, I really saw the change. I really saw the progress and all the hard work that I put in, and the whole reason that I put myself through this and had that major surgery. I saw it right there in the mirror at the time. And I'm going to try not to get emotional about it. But it was, I've had my moments in the past, obviously. There are pictures that you like of yourself and, oh, this looks good and that looks good. And when you're putting in a little effort and when you're just, throwing your hair in a ponytail and walking out the door. But I think other than maybe my first prom, my junior prom, seeing myself in that dress, and now mind you, I didn't have my hair done up or anything. It was literally just to try it on and see if it fit. But truly, I think, since my junior prom, it's the first time in my life that I genuinely felt beautiful. and I want to wear this dress so bad, but it's not good for the summertime. Like maybe like at midnight when the temperature's comfortable to be out in again. So I don't know when I'm going to get to wear it. I don't know what occasion I'm going to get to wear it, but I can't wait to wear this dress because it makes me feel so good knowing that that's what I look like in it. And I've never felt good in dresses, especially, I mean, it's thank God things have gotten better for larger people over the years, but I could never find a dress that fit properly in one place. And so they always just felt off to me and looked off to me. And I just could never comfortably wear them. And then I see myself in this dress and I want to wear it every day. It's so amazing. And it's funny too, because when I opened up the package and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I don't know if this pattern works for me. Like I really don't know. Like I can't even remember, like I said, ordering it. And then when I pulled it out of the package, I'm like, I don't know about this. It's always, it's one of those things where like you have to see it on because it just doesn't look right on the rack, as they say. But again, you guys, it's just, so I share the lows and I share the difficulties and I share all of that. But I saw it. I saw everything I've been doing. I saw the progress and I saw how, it was just one of those, I was like, okay, this is why. This is where, because yes, healthy, but I want to have a healthy picture of myself too. And seeing it and knowing that I am doing this for my health and my health is improving because of it. That's just the icing on the cake, putting on a dress and feeling good about yourself and wanting to like, just show yourself off to the world. Like, how often do we have moments like that? And I'm just so appreciative. So I wanted to share that moment with you too, because quite frankly, it's been a couple of days and every day I think about putting that dress on again. So it did something to me. It's a really nice feeling to feel that way about yourself. Because we don't do that, right? We don't stick up for ourselves or praise ourselves or, give ourselves our flowers. And I haven't been able to stop for the past couple of days. And I hope everyone feels that every once in a while, because it's pretty awesome. Welcome to Try Not to Curse. Hey gang, so I recorded those 2 pieces and just, like I usually do with things like that, I just figured, I'll stick them in front of an episode. But I really hadn't had any episodes come along that I felt they were right for. So here they are on the show. Sadly, I'm at a point, anyone who's listening knows that we did not air an episode last week. Unfortunately, I'm at that scheduling black hole again this week. We're having a really, really hard time because, life happens. I was supposed to record with someone today. Unfortunately, they had a family thing come up. It happens. Totally get it. Producer Mike is again working on another film, and then he's got one coming up right after that. Actually, he's probably going to be doing 2 at the same time. So he has just been like, Liz, I love you. I appreciate you. It's good to see you. But no, I can't record. I'm hoping to get him in later on this afternoon. He's like, give me a couple hours. So we'll see what happens. But I said, well, you know what? Let me just sit down. It's not going to be about bariatric chat, even though the past 20 minutes, that's what you heard. Again, I guess I just had a moment those 2 times and thought I'd hit the record button and see where the conversation went, and that's where it went. But yeah, things are still pretty much the same. I have definitely plateaued, but I feel, fuck you guys, I feel so good. I feel so good that I don't care. I should say, of course I care, but I'm telling you, I know I look good. I know my clothes fit well. I know I look far better than where I was when I started. And what matters to me is how I feel. My mom, my stepdad, and I met up with some family in Boston last week. And one of the days I walked 10 miles. It was 90 degrees. While I was waiting for my mom and my stepdad to get ready for the day, I said, you know what? I'm going to take myself out on a walk. I walked 4 miles. Then we did some more walking around the city, and I felt great. I didn't have back problems. I didn't have knee problems. My feet didn't hurt. That's the shit that matters to me. Again, I did not do this for vanity at any point, because I knew exactly what my body would look like once I started losing the weight. Because whenever you do something like that, whenever you lose weight in a very short amount of time, your skin looks like shit. You've got all these folds and flab and rolls, and because things just start to, while internally you're shrinking, your outer shell, stays the same for the most part. So my arms are, I wouldn't say disgusting. That's really rude to say about yourself, but my arms are embarrassingly flabby, even though I have ridiculous muscles underneath. Like whenever I make a muscle and I tell somebody to like touch my bicep, they're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I know, right? But unfortunately you can't see that right now, because everything is just sagging. And that's my lot in life. That's what I signed up for. That's what I agreed to. You know what I mean? But again, when you've got clothes on, when everything's covered up, I look great. So still, not going to be wearing a bikini to the beach ever. But again, I've gotten to a point now where, as much as, yes, I'm disappointed that I'm not as close to my goal as I would like to be. I've surpassed the halfway mark. I keep saying that I'm around 90 pounds. I'm really more like 86, 87 pounds down. But again, I'm not trusting the fucking scale, because the scale changes throughout the goddamn day. If I step on it at 6 a.m., step on it again at 11 a.m., step on it again at 1 p.m., step on it again at 5 p.m., step on it again at 9 p.m., step on it again at 11 p.m., the weights are going to be different. Not drastically, of course, but I'm focusing on being fit, staying, stabilizing, I should say. Yes, I've plateaued, but you know what? I'd rather plateau than go backwards. And I'm not going backwards. So that's what matters. That's what's important here. And if this is all I lose, it's not great, but so be it. I'm a little more than 60 pounds away from my goal. But again, even that I consider a win, because I've lost more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I only lost 40 pounds and I still had 60 pounds to go, I would be depressed. But I lost 87 and I've got another 60. I can live with that. I did more than half. And if I can just keep the course, keep going, that's more than anybody can ask for, or I think what anybody's even expected. So I'm all right. And as I said, my one coworker had made that comment about our other coworker who she felt lost too much weight and looked sickly. I certainly don't want to be there either. So maybe the original number that I had in my head is not what's right for me, But again, I'm focusing on what matters. I feel strong. I feel good. I don't mind, taking an extra walk somewhere. Like, I'm here in the studio today and Mike's running around and getting some stuff done. And he was like, listen, the more you can help me take care of, the easier it would be for me to record with you later. So he was like, if you want to go pick up lunch for us, that'll be one thing that you can do, that so I can stay the course, stay what I'm working on. So, okay. So I went and I walked down to, one of our little local restaurants, picked up lunch, walked it back up. Like, those are the kinds of things that oh yeah, no problem. Like, no brainer. Like, it's not a big deal. Whereas before I would have been like, fuck, I have to get up. I have to go walk down the hill and then I have to walk back up the hill. Fuck. Like, and it wasn't because I was lazy. It was because I knew I would be hurting later. I knew it wouldn't feel great, you know, and I knew I'd be sweating and I knew I'm like, oh, fuck, you know, whereas thankfully, I mean, yeah, I'm still a sweaty Betty. Unfortunately, that's just my DNA, but thankfully I don't have that mindset anymore. Whereas now it's like, hey, you want to take this extra trip somewhere? You want to walk down this street randomly out of nowhere? Yeah, I do. Can't wait to do it. Happy to do it. Let's do it again. So, you know, in that sense, I've succeeded, and I have to keep telling myself that it has been over a year now. And again, I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't think that I would be here. I thought I would be a little further along, thought maybe the last 50, 40 pounds would be difficult, but it's looking like the number is 60. So, okay, I can live with that. And, you know, just keep doing what I'm doing. Again, yes, the hardest part is when I'm out and about, especially now that we have established that I do absolutely have hypoglycemia, and it is summertime. So heat definitely affects that. If I don't get a full 8 hours of sleep, if I don't get well-rested sleep, definitely affects that. So unfortunately, you know, there are times when no matter what, no matter where I am, no matter what's going on, fuck me, I need to eat right now, or we're going to have a problem. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to get really sick. I need to have something to eat. So that sucks because we live in America and America doesn't give a fuck about being healthy. And so that's the hardest part when I'm out and about. And it just strikes, it just hits me there. And it's a shame because it's not even a situation where like I can time it. Sometimes my body's good. Sometimes my body's not. So I can never predict how I'm going to feel, when I'm going to feel, when it's going to hit me. Like I said, I can go for hours and I'm fine. But then there's times when, you know, I ate an hour and a half ago and all of a sudden my body's like, fuck you. You didn't eat enough, or I don't know what it is, but something triggers internally. And my body decides you need to drop everything and go find something to eat. You have to stuff your face with something. And sadly, America does not offer healthy options. You know, even the high protein stuff it's loaded with soy, or it's loaded with trans fats, or it's loaded with sodium. So it's like, you know, reading nutrition labels at a gas station, you know what I mean? Like the options are very limited. But it is what it is. So I'm doing the best that I can. And again, don't sit there and be like, you could always get a salad. No, I need protein. That's a big part of it as well. A handful of lettuce, cucumbers, tomato, whatever the fuck you put on that salad, I promise you, that's not. I mean, look at you talk. If you ever watch competitive eaters like Kobayashi, when he talks about it, he says the stuff that takes longer to break down is the proteins. Carbs break down very quickly, turn into sugars in your body, absorb into your body quickly. Same thing with veggies. It's 70% water, babe. So there's nutrients there, but there's no substance. And that's what my body needs. My body needs substance. My body needs something that will sustain it for an extended period of time. So when you're like, oh, you're trying to eat healthy. Well, that's it. That's everybody's go-to is a salad. Guess what, babe? Unfortunately, that's not the answer for me. So like I said, I'm still working on it. It's still very much on my mind all the time, but like I said, it's the conversations now becoming more positive, and I'm looking at the things that I have succeeded on. I'm looking at like I said, right now my focus is on how I feel, and I feel really fucking good. So we're going to keep it with that. So, again, this was not supposed to be about bariatric chat, but here we are. But what I did want to say, again, since I am having these scheduling issues, I wanted to at least give you kind of a heads up of what to look forward to coming up on the pod. We're already, I think this is episode 12 or 13 now. Jesus, I don't even know. So we are trudging along. I have quite the list of guests coming up. I also have a whole another handful of guests that I want to speak to and try to see if they'll come on the pod. But I have about 15 people that have all told me, yes, they'd love to talk with me. It's all been a scheduling conflict. So, I'm going to be talking to one of my friends who is a mortgage broker. I'm going to be, again, talking to producer Mike very, very recently. Like I said, he's got movies coming up, but there are a lot of other things that have been going on in the world that I want to talk with him about. I have the Doctors Will Be Back, Catherine and Rhea. Book 2 is out. It is available for purchase. I am an asshole because I can't for the life of me remember the name of the book, but we'll talk about it when I interview them. I want to try and get some other people back on here. I'd like to talk to Fiona again. She's doing some crazy shit. I want to talk to Dan because the movies are still coming, babe. And we have still so much to, I mean, I really need to find a way to like find somebody to do like a movie podcast with me or something, because I'm still seeing them. I'm seeing 3 today. I'm seeing 5 on Friday. And there's still like another 4 or 5 within the next 2 weeks that I want to see. There's just there's good shit out there. And I feel like just nobody knows about it because it's just not, you know, unless you're like me and you're going all the time, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. I just saw Kneecap, which is incredible. It's based on a true story. It's based on an Irish hip hop group. I should say Gaelic hip hop group. They're called Kneecap. It's self-titled. And they actually let's talk about this. They actually star in the film about them, which I didn't know. I thought it was actors, you know, just depicting, you know, real life events. No. The gentlemen in the hip hop group Kneecap portray themselves, play themselves, and fuck me, are they talented. Not only are they incredible actors, but they're rapping, their lyrics, their songs are awesome. They're raw. There's a ton of drug use, which my movie buddy Justin had a real problem with. But no offense, Justin. I mean, you're a little softy anyway. But that's what he said. He said, I loved Kneecap. I thought the acting was incredible, but there was way too much drug use for me. I said, well, what are you going to do? They're 20 something year olds in Northern Ireland rapping in Gaelic. And that's what it's about. So it's about, so it takes place in the early 2000s when, some Irish groups are trying to make Gaelic, I don't know how to explain the legalities of it, but they basically weren't recognizing Gaelic as a language. And there was a group trying to be like, hey, what the fuck? Like, there should be a national language. This is the language of our people. Why aren't you teaching it? Why aren't you making it, more widespread? Like, yeah, sure, we're under the thumb of England, but we don't want to be. We are our own people. We have our own land. We want to have our own culture and traditions. So this hip hop group, they all happen to speak Gaelic fluently because one of their parents, who was a big member of the IRA, taught them from early childhood. And so they try to speak it regularly. And now they have started rapping in Gaelic. And that's set off a lot of things because, what do rappers talk about? Drugs and women and gang violence and shit like that. So even the group that was trying to get Gaelic recognized, or they just say, they say speak Irish, get this Irish language recognized, was like, you guys need to stop rapping in Gaelic because you're kind of fucking up our cause. Like, you're not helping things. But in fact, they were, because the younger generation, the people around their age and younger, were like, we're going to start learning Gaelic so that we can understand these lyrics. So it's really powerful. It's a really fun, it's an entertaining film. Yes, it covers some heavy shit. Kneecap comes from a term kneecapping, which was something that the IRA was known for. They would shoot people in their kneecaps. And so even the title alone is controversial. So again, definitely check it out. It was only in my fucking theater for a week. And I literally screamed at all of the management staff. I was like, I'm going to choke out every fucking one of you, because I had to drop everything. Literally the day we got back from Boston, I went home, I dropped my shit. I turned around and I went to the movie theater and I saw the last showing of it because I had to work the next day. And I was like, fuck you guys. Like, this is bullshit that I had to, do this because I found out they were getting rid of it that week. So I was like, fuck. So try and, I'm sure it's going to be available for streaming any day now. I've already downloaded their albums through Amazon Music. So I can't say enough about the film. Sure, it's not for everyone. Like I said, my buddy Justin had a real problem because it was heavy drug use. I mean, we're talking about ketamine and coke and, it's heavy drug use. Thankfully not heroin, because that's just gives me the heebs. But it's just so fucking good. And again, this is the problem. I want to talk movies all the time, but the majority of the people that are listening don't get to see movies regularly. So they're like, cool, we're never going to see that. Like, damn it. So I'm trying not to waste you guys' time with that, but oh, man. Also down the line, I should say, and I'll mention this prior to every episode when this comes up, but there are going to be some really heavy conversations coming up down the line. We recently lost one of my family members to addiction, to alcoholism. I'm going to be speaking with her son about that. He actually came to me and he said, I really do. I want to talk about this. So we're going to get into that. Addiction does run in my family. Addiction, I feel like everyone, just like cancer, everyone is touched by addiction one way or the other. Either you know somebody, or you've had your own experience with it, or people in your own family. So we're going to be talking about that. I will be speaking with my teacher from 5th grade, Mrs. Hannah, who I mentioned last season when I was speaking with Tammy. Tammy will be back as well. We're going to be talking some more. We're going to be talking more in depth about special needs, what it's like to raise someone with special needs, what it's like to teach students with special needs, and how society, kind of how things have changed for the better, but have also kind of stayed the same in some regards. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about, there's been all of these documentaries that have been out lately. Quiet on Set, the Nickelodeon story. Soleil Moon Frye had a documentary that came out a couple of years ago around COVID. I think just before COVID, where she talks about a lot of the friends that she's lost to addiction. HBO Max has a show called Fallen Idols, which is about Nick and Aaron Carter, and it's really fucking heartbreaking. But I will be talking to a friend who is a psychiatrist. We're going to have Jess back on the show as well, who has watched all of these docuseries with me. And we're going to be talking about all of that because, I've in watching all of these different shows and going to Comic-Con regularly and being so engrossed in pop culture and because that is really it's what I care about. It's what I like. It's what interests me, and people's stories are what interest me. Again, that's why I started this pod. But right now I'm having a really hard time, and it's something that I'm kind of trying to examine, and something that, like I said, I keep speaking with Jessica about in particular, but we'll be talking with my friend Candace as well, about how you come to terms with and wrap your head around your heroes becoming monsters. Finding out that these people that you care so deeply about and that have meant so much to you over the years are absolutely vile and have done horrible, devastating, disgusting things to other people. And what do you do? How do you talk about them? And cancel culture is so prevalent right now. And I know it's at a point where now people are like trying to not be a part of it. You know what I mean? So again, it's like we're going to be talking about all of that, and like just kind of how to wrap your head around this reality that has now, been exposed in all different ways. And also, about how there's multiple sides and there's multiple facets to every story. So, which is why canceling people is difficult and may not even be the right move. You know what I mean? Like, so we're going to try and get some kind of understanding on that, and hopefully, we can, and again, there's no right or wrong answer here as well. So that's also part of the problem, because I think everybody just wants things to be black and white. And when it's not, that also adds to the confusion too. Cause it's like, well, wait, like, so we shouldn't support them, but by watching their stuff or listening to their stuff, does that mean we still are? Like, it's, like I always have this thing, like with Chick-fil-A, for example. I know they're a wonderful business. They're really great to their employees. They're great to their customers. But at the end of the day, they are a Christian institution, and they believe in some of the Christian bullshit that I think is absolute bullshit. And, they're not a fan of homosexuals, and they have all these other kinds of issues. So I personally have never given my hard-earned dollars to Chick-fil-A. Have I eaten Chick-fil-A food that's been purchased for me by somebody else? Yes, I have. So am I a hypocrite, or am I gaming the system? Is there a workaround here? You know what I'm saying? So these are the kinds of things where it's like, there are so many gray areas in every aspect of our lives. And I think I would rather live that way than walk around with this like air of righteousness and lord over people that like, oh, I've been able to, I'm better than you because I've been able to stand my ground and to, like, listen, if there's a situation where someone's providing lunch, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, no, thank you. I can't participate. And I'm going to say, you know what? I appreciate that I don't have to spend money, and you brought this to me because I was doing you a favor, helping you out in some way. I'm not going to get on my high horse when somebody else is doing something and they don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's not your fault that you didn't know my beliefs with this group or whatever, and I think that's where a lot of people get hung up, and that's where all the bullshit online happens too. You know what I mean? Because how dare you? How dare you? I thought you felt X, Y, and Z. I thought this was your, I thought our morals were aligned. Listen, we have the same morals, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. I'm not going to get fanatical with it. Like I said, if someone wants to buy me a chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A, hey, they didn't get my money. And that's where I leave it. That's as far as it goes for me. I'm sorry. And if that makes me an asshole, well, guess what? There's a lot of assholes in this world, and we have to figure out how to fucking live together, So we'll get into all of that. But again, I always feel so bad when there's a gap in the schedule. It killed me not having an episode to air last week. I'm trying so hard to get the guests and get our schedules together. Things are so much better now that I have access to Mike's studio whenever I need it. So that's really a big thing. And that will be a game changer, but I just can't get people. I reached out to someone who I was supposed to chat with last month. And I said, oh, okay, like now, things are a little more open. Let me know what your availability is. And they were like, we'll talk in the beginning of 2025. Like, wait, what? No, sure. Yes, the pod will still be going, and that's great. But I'm like, no, we can talk, so it is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm just trying to juggle. I'm doing the best that I can. I also am hoping to get Mike's mom, Liba, in here. She was the mayor of this town back when I was in elementary school, middle school. So I want to talk to her because I'm like kind of fascinated by all of that, because I'll tell you right now, I have absolutely no desire to be an elected official by any means. So even just deciding to run, let alone win and successfully be the mayor of a town for a good period of time, that's pretty interesting to me. So those are a couple of things that we can look forward to. I'm also going to be talking to a buddy that's in cybersecurity. And shit, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, babes. We're gonna try to stay away from politics, but it might be difficult given the current climate. It is an election year after all, and I mean, you guys already know how I feel about things, but sometimes you need to have these conversations. So feel free to skip whatever you want, but I hope you stick with us. I hope you listen, and hopefully you're learning things as we go. Yeah. So let's talk about, so I'm going to see some movies tonight. I'm going to see Harold and the Purple Crayon featuring Zachary Levi. I'm probably going to fall asleep. It's probably going to be corny as fuck, but it's for Zachary Levi. I support my man. I'm going to see Trap, the new M. Night Shyamalan film. Fun fact, you guys, the movie Watchers, which came out about a month and a half ago, he is the producer on that film. I thought he was the director. So when I sat in my seat, and I think I've talked about this before, I sat in my chair and I was like, oh, that's a different Shyamalan doing this. It's his daughter. One of his daughters actually directed The Watchers, and it's great. I really enjoyed the film a lot. I wouldn't say there was an unexpected, well, yeah, it was. It was an unexpected twist in the end. And when you find out what's really going on, that was fascinating. Also, I don't know if you guys know the film The Secret Garden that came out in the 90s. It's one of my favorite childhood films. The actor who was the father in that is in The Watchers, and I haven't seen him in anything since The Secret Garden. So that was amazing. I was so pumped to see him, and he looks exactly the fucking same. And then, I'm going to see Trap. So that's the whole reason I started this M. Night Shyamalan conversation. So I'm going to see Trap tonight as well, which he directs, and his other daughter plays the Lady Gaga-esque character, Lady Raven, in the film, and she wrote all of the songs and performs all of the songs in the film as well. So it's really cool. And so I'm going to talk to Mike about this as well, I think. But just a little thing about nepotism. I don't give a fuck about nepotism. I really don't. I know a lot of people feel like you should. A lot of people feel like, how dare these people get in because it's not, not based on their merits and not based on time spent. And who fucking cares? Nepotism is all around us, even if that's not what it's called, right? I got my job because my mom knew somebody who worked at my company and said, hey, my daughter's looking for work. And he said, cool, I'll put her on the top of the list if I see her application come through. How many people have been in that situation? How many people have helped somebody else get a job because they're my friend and I know they're good people? I myself have recruited 4 or 5 people to my same company and I've gotten them a job there, and they still work there to this day, and they're referring other people to that job. So to me, that's nepotism as well, because you knew somebody who knew somebody that got you in the door, right? And yes, you need to have a decent application. You need to have a good sense of self. You need to interview well. But the whole point is you got there off of somebody else. So I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about people making money off of their parents or whatever, because at the end of the day, they still have to do some form of work. Everybody thinks the Kardashians don't do fuck all. Everybody thinks Paris Hilton doesn't do fuck all. That's not true. It's not true. They work their asses off. Granted, maybe it's things you don't care about. Maybe it's products you're never going to purchase. But at the end of the day, they still are working their asses off, and they're still busier than you or I will ever fucking be. So I don't care. I don't care. So yeah. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of things going on in the world. There's a lot of things on my mind, and I can't find anybody to talk to me about it. So you're stuck listening to me talking to myself in a room in my studio, and I apologize. I'm so sorry. But again, that's what I started this pod for anyway, because all I want to do is talk. All I want to fucking do is talk. And if I can find people to talk to me, great. If not, I'm talking to myself, and that's just how it is. So hopefully you appreciate my ramblings. And if you don't, you can just turn me off. That's okay too, So yeah. So this year already, I've been to Australia. I've been to Missouri. I've been to New York City. I've been to Boston. I'm going to be going back to New York to Comic-Con. I'm going to be going back to Rhode Island for Comic-Con, and I will be going out to California for my dear friend Alice's wedding. I'm very, very excited. Mike, Ron, Steve, and I will be reunited. Hopefully I'll get to play with the chickens and help out with his chickens and his dogs. He planted a tree that he named after me. I'm going to go check on the progress of my namesake of my tree, see how she's doing. And hopefully run into a number of other friends along the way while I'm out there. But definitely still a lot of things to look forward to towards the end of this year. I'm broke as fuck. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm still recovering from Australia. Well, recovering is a hilarious word. I haven't even come close to recovering. I'm trying really, really hard, but the economy sucks. Everything sucks. Nobody can afford anything, but we're all still doing stuff. Thank God for credit cards, right? So yeah, so that's where we're at in life. Everybody's busy, but also nobody can do anything. So it's like, I don't know. But I just hope everyone out there is doing well. Thank you for sticking with me with season 2. Like I said, there is still a lot on the agenda. There's still a lot of conversation to be had. It's just if I could, you guys, if anybody wants to just start paying me, that would be great. If you want to just start sending cash to my Venmo, I don't care. The smallest increments, I don't care. But the problem is
work gets in the way of everything. It would be so much easier for me to schedule people if I could just do this full time. I'd love to do this full time. Mike and I do talk about sponsorship, but having 60 sub on episodes does not a successful podcast make, unfortunately. So we're doing what we can. I'm still networking like crazy. I keep talking to people. I keep reaching out to people and being like, hey, come talk to me. Hey, come on the pod. And there's a lot of interest, but just not a lot of time. So that's where we're at. But again, thank you guys for sticking with me. I apologize that you have to listen to my ramblings every so often when I try to fill the gaps, but that's where we're at. So this was Try Not to Curse. I promise the next episode will have a guest. It's looking like it's going to be producer Mike, but no, fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Have a great day, everybody.